for today's video, we're going to be going over some Instagram and TikTok brands in general and how they utilize video content to market for the brand. Pretty simple. I've done a series of different videos about this. I believe this is part number 4 in the series. So yeah, just going to get straight into it. And without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, cool. So the first brand I have is this one called Supra. I don't actually know anything about them. I just found out about them like a week or two ago. But this first one we have is actually a video carousel, which I think is a pretty interesting strategy. So here this is, if I can show this.
Ça fait, tu peux tricoter, un petit peu.
So I like this idea of a video carousel a lot, honestly. I think that's something that I'm starting to see somewhat more often for different brands. And I think we're going to continue to see quite a lot more often. And really, a lot of these all just really have to do with like the environment and setting. Of course, we have like the model essentially that's like not really doing anything, but it's everything about them. They're all engaging. They're all also really interestingly set up in terms of like color and shot. Like right here, we have all the cats that pretty much have the same color as this jacket. Of course, here we have the green like mohair zip up that's kind of again reflected with the similar shades of green in the backdrop. Yeah, all these are like really well shot and thought of. And yeah, they're all like interesting. They're almost like pretty counterintuitive because the model themselves is like not doing anything, and it has everything to do with like the environment and people around them. So yeah, really well shot. All of them are pretty interesting. Again, we have this one where he's like just standing on a ski slope. So yeah, really like this one from this brand, and clearly did very well on the engagement side. Absolutely crushed for them on social. Yeah, video carousels, check them out. Good idea. Okay, this next one we have is this one by Deschutes. I've talked about them before, but they're a really big German clothing brand that's really well known for their embroidery. So here is their recent shoes they did. So there's really a lot to unpack from that kind of BTS video, if you will. Overall, it's incredibly well shot. Obviously, also it plays a lot into like ASMR, which is like obviously really big nowadays. Just the sounds of every little thing that goes into making these, from the embroidery machine to the things actually putting in like the aglets and just everything that goes into that. Obviously, me myself, I'm not super familiar with the actual footwear production process, so I think for most people, this is also just really interesting to see what actually goes on behind the scenes. And also for them, they're trying to sell these boots for I think like close to $300. So videos like this are really important for them to show why they cost $300, right? So they're really showing all the intentionality that goes behind it, just all of the work. And yeah, when you're able to craft something with this kind of just overall like brand image and kind of branding, if you will. Of course, they show the unboxing with the actual box itself that comes in, the paper, and yeah, you do something at this high quality, you're able to sell something for a much higher price point, right? So yeah, this definitely obviously costs some money on the production side, but definitely something to be thinking about. And yeah, I'm just a fan of this one. I think BTS shots in general can be well done still, especially when you're able to show just how a product is made. And yeah, I think they absolutely crushed on this one, and definitely something to do if you have a higher budget. Okay, the next one we have is a brand Raised Online. This one is actually by pretty much the biggest fashion YouTuber to my knowledge. Frugal Aesthetic has this brand, and yeah, he honestly crushes the marketing every time. This one is called Doom Scroll for his recent collection that comes out actually tomorrow called How It Feels. So here's this. Unforgettable. That's what you are. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am. Thinks that I am unforgettable too. So I've said this before in previous videos, but of course, the less you can make it about the clothes and more about just like the emotion evoked, or just even when you're doing these marketing videos, like just everything again, not to do with the clothes. Of course, when he's doing something like this, he's going to be wearing the clothes from the new collection, but it has everything to do with like the mini story that's being told. So yeah, of course, the production level is super high. Everyone's saying that he's likely in Iceland. Yeah, I think that's probably where he's at to do the shoot. So obviously, costs money to actually go out there and do the shoot, but really cool concept. Obviously a stark contrast too of just like him by himself in the middle of like next to these like mountains and glaciers and whatnot. So really cool in that contrast from just like a photography visual standpoint. And yeah, I think he really like nailed this mini video. Of course, a lot of it is to just like having a short and simple concept that can maybe be executed to a very high degree. Like you could recreate this video in another setting, but it wouldn't quite hit the same. So yeah, really like that element to it, and yeah, definitely a pretty cool collection. He generally makes some like interesting clothes that have like multiple concepts. Like I believe the Zip Up has this concept that you can also like make it like a cross shoulder bag. So that's pretty cool. Um, and yeah, of course, making the video relate back to like the actual like collection itself. This whole like how it feels. I think it has to do with just like being like single or lonely on Valentine's Day. So this whole idea of just doom scrolling on your phone, I think is kind of how that plays into it. So yeah, obviously making it less about the clothes and more about just like the emotion evoked, if you will, and then always relating it back to somehow the collection theme or idea or brand, just so it has a whole kind of unifying conformity, if you will. Next up, just a pretty quick one, but I actually got this one as an ad, and I saw they've done this actually multiple times, but this brand called Scuffers. Yeah, something as simple as this, clearly done in just like After Effects or something like that. Obviously, some type of post production of just like filming Big Ben and then adding their pants to it and then the little helicopter flyover. But yeah, something like this, when you're really just trying to think about how you are stopping a scroll, especially those brands that are kind of going for a bit of more of a trendier vibe. I think of like I just learned about this brand Scuffers, but they kind of remind me of like that brand Trent Vision, based out of Germany. Kind of similar feel. But yeah, something like this obviously works really well on social, and if you're going to run this as an ad, I'm sure this crushed for them as well. Just stuff like this. I'm not sure how much it costs to hire someone to do this type of like 3D like modeling and effects, but I can't imagine it's like too crazy. Again, I feel like this is pretty reasonable to get done for, I don't know, less than $1,000, maybe not. Yeah, overall pretty cool, and crushed on social has like 140,000 likes, and then they also ran it as an ad, which I got, and that was the first thing I saw from them. So did their job again in stopping that scroll, and just something to be thinking about. Okay, next up, Fugazi again wanted to highlight their most recent ad. Almost all of them are super cool and unique, and just have some type of just different element to it. So I'll play this one. So I think that's like a reference to the old Chef Boyardee ads. Now, funny enough, I did cover that one by I believe it was Rug Soda, who did a more direct on the nose one, if you will, referencing again like the can of Chef Boyardee kind of rolling around the streets of wherever and then landing back to like the kid's house. Well, this one's a little different, obviously. We just have this red Fugazi barrel. We have the clear branding on it just rolling around the streets of New York. And yeah, it flattens the guy. All of them pretty much always invoke some sort of like humor or kind of element like that. So yeah, again, pretty short and simple. Doesn't like require anything crazy. Some of them are definitely more higher on the production side. This one's like pretty easy for them to make. I think most people could probably make something like this wherever they are located. So yeah, pretty short and simple. Doesn't really have like any crazy overlying message, but still makes sense for what their brand does and kind of just a lot of like the yeah, what their brand does and the kind of messages they play with. So yeah, really cool ad. This last one I have on Instagram. Okay. Actually, just wanted to have a reminder that whenever you're making something like that's semi-unique or different, short film can or short form content can just work really well for anything like kind of new that you're doing. So I actually just wanted to highlight this quick one by this guy Henry Johnson. Yeah, it's literally a duct tape print that he somehow managed to do on like a screen print. And yeah, it has 500,000 views. So yeah, just a reminder that if you're doing anything remotely like different or unique, and you have some type of like hands-on, you can show like the behind the scenes like process of making it or designing it or like really whatever that might be. Yeah, short form content can work really well for that. And yeah, just be shooting your shot and trying different formats and different things. Everything else I kind of showed you was again like a bit more higher production, more of like a longer short film. But yeah, in terms of just short form, at the end of the day, it's all about just like being engaging. Are you doing something unique, or do you have some type of message to tell? And then of course the execution on that matters a lot, like we saw with the last Raised Online video. Yeah, finally getting into TikTok. I know a lot of people talk about this brand on TikTok, Shinzo brand. I'm not honestly very tapped in, but saw some of the recent media and wanted to highlight a couple of them. So we have, I believe, this one right. No, where's that first one I just saw? This one right here. So again, not too different than a lot of other like TikTok and like even Instagram many ads, if you will. But the main difference is they changed the backdrop for like each shot, and that just seems to really kind of work. Definitely an interesting concept to play with if you're just showing off like product features and just overall like again something more like unique like that type of jacket. Yeah, being again visually engaging and always changing something up, especially because everyone's attention spans are so short. Yeah, just something like that, even changing like the backdrop on each shot, I think works really well for that. And yeah, garnered like close to 500,000 views and definitely over indexed for relative to the other videos. This other one I just saw recently too, I thought was pretty cool. So again, I just like the POV slash angle of that one being shot. Yeah, overall, you can definitely check out their TikTok. I actually just found out about them again like this last week. Going to be doing my own research on them and trying to see what I can implement. Yeah, they're clearly doing very well on their organic side. It's really interesting to see the contrast of brands how they tackle TikTok versus Instagram, even though like a video TikTok and like a reel are essentially like the same thing and kind of have like similar algorithms. The platforms themselves are still pretty like different in terms of like what like works and doesn't work. I think TikTok again like those like quick shots. I think people have a shorter attention span for sure on a TikTok versus like scrolling on reels might have a bit of a longer time period for people to become engaged or I think on TikTok, just your hook matters that much more than Instagram. But yeah, it's really interesting to look at. And obviously, a lot of those like shorter films, like I showed you on, or the longer short films on Instagram, don't quite work as well on TikTok, to my knowledge. I mean, they sometimes still do, but for the most part, generally crush more often on Instagram. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have for today, guys. Again, please drop a like, leave a comment, positive or negative, on the video, or if you've seen any other videos, or just comments in general. If you have anything else that you want to see moving forward, completely open to just whatever to talk about in the fashion marketing space. And please subscribe if you've not already, guys. Have a lot of big goals for this year in terms of sub counts and also just like video output in general and the quality of these videos, trying to improve them. Again, I did get a mic finally. Do need to get a better mic. It's definitely a cheaper one, but yeah, that's all I've got for you guys today. And until then, I'll see you guys next time.